weeks in advance, only to start panicking the day before you have to give your speech. This is what happened to me yesterday. Good morning, Toastmasters and guests.
Good morning.
Good morning. I scheduled this speech with Farhan nearly 2 weeks ago, but I started preparing this only day before yesterday. The reason was because I had procrastinated so much that I forgot to prepare my speech. So what exactly is procrastination? Is it good or is it bad? Let me explain to you what someone else explains what this is. So Tim Urban is a blogger and he has also given a TED talk on this topic, procrastination. So how he describes this is, there are normal people, let's call them precrastinators. If you ask them to give a Toastmasters speech, this is what they will do. They will schedule the speech 3 weeks in advance. They'll immediately start looking for a topic. Once they get a topic, they'll prepare it. They'll prepare their script within a day. They'll rehearse so well that by the time they come here to give their speech, they'll be so well prepared and so confident that they'll deliver their speech very well. On the other hand, you have people who are procrastinators, like me. This is what they would do. They schedule their speech 3 weeks in advance. They have to choose a topic. Okay, they choose a topic. They sit down. They try to write their script. But then their mind starts to wander. Let's say they have chosen a topic called Delhi. Now I need to get information about Delhi. What would I do? I will go to Wikipedia. I will read the entire Wikipedia article about Delhi. Its history, geography, whatever. Entire thing. Then I want to get more information. And what do I do? The next day, I look at videos about how the voting system works in India. How it is different from other countries. How the president election is different from the prime minister's election. For example, for electing the president, an electoral body is responsible for choosing the president and not you. I was curious, so I went and read the entire Wikipedia article about what is electoral colleges, how many people are there, what it does, and so on. Then I read about how democracy came into India, what happened before that, what were the Britishers doing in India in the first place, and so on. So you can see where I was going. I was doing everything well. I was researching everything very well, but I had forgot to write my speech. This is why I chose this topic, procrastination. How many of you can relate to this? Please raise your hands. So for all of you who have raised your hands, I have good news for you. And for all of you who have not raised your hands, I have bad news. Procrastination is good. Procrastination leads to an increase in creativity. You don't believe me? Believe Adam Grant. Adam Grant is an organizational psychologist who has studied the behavior of people in different organizations. So what he says is that procrastination is not something you have or you don't have. It is actually a spectrum. On one side of the spectrum, you have people who, when given a task, they start working on it immediately. But this is not always right. Because if you get a difficult task or a very interesting task, the first idea that comes to your mind would be the most conventional idea, or it would be something which you have already done before or heard of before. So you will not get the most creative idea if you start working on something immediately. You will have to wait, think about it for some time and then start. On the other side of the spectrum, you have people who are the procrastinators. These are the people who read Wikipedia, waste their time, and they have to write their speech. And finally, you have very little time to prepare your speech. So what do? They choose the easiest way out, which might not always be the most creative one again. In the middle, you have a sweet spot where you procrastinate just enough and you start working on your speech. So here is where you get the most creative ideas. Adam Grant actually tested this hypothesis on a group of people. He invited a group of business students and asked them to come up with the most innovative business idea in 10 minutes. He divided them into 3 different groups. The first group had to work on this for 10 minutes and come up with their idea. The second group had to play Minesweeper on their computer for the first 5 minutes and work on their idea for the next 5 minutes. The third group had to play Minesweeper for 10 minutes and give their idea immediately. He collected all of these ideas, gave it to a third-party observer, and asked them to rank the ideas on the basis of their creativity and out-of-the-box thinking. It was found that the group in the middle had given 16% more creative ideas than the other 2 groups. What this means is, if you procrastinate just enough, you can become more creative. So what does this mean for people who raised your hands? If you are on this side of the spectrum, where you procrastinate a lot, you need to pull yourself back to this middle, where you can be more creative. But if you are on this side of the spectrum, where you jump on doing something immediately, you just have to do one thing. You have to do nothing. You can wait, let's say, a day, a month, a week, how much ever time you want, depending on the task, and then start working on it. That way, you will generate more creative ideas. Because creativity does not depend on procrastination. Rather, creativity is a result of procrastination.